Give me a seat. Hi there. Good.
That's all perfect, that's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Make sure they turn on their buttons.
Before they talk.
Yeah.
You want me to take the notes?
Yeah. We'll be doing something else. Am I just doing quick on that?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't think there's much.
Okay.
I don't think there's much else besides that.
Okay, don't forget to put your mic on. All right, welcome everyone to the Skokie Appearance Commission for this December 8th meeting. As you know or should know, the purpose of the Appearance Commission is to review the appearance of your project, the renovation or new construction, how it appears. To that end, hopefully you brought materials along with you, color palettes. We'll be reviewing those as well as how those relate to the harmony with its neighbors, compliance with the code. We're not here, however, to evaluate any zoning issues, engineering issues, traffic issues, and so on. The neighbors on either side of your property have also been invited to be present tonight and participate with the proceeding. We'll also ask them for comments if they wish to make them. We also solicit or read into the record comments from the zoning staff. The commissioner to my right will read those prior to each case. So if you are going to testify tonight or wish to make any comments, I would ask you all to stand so you can be sworn in, and I will do so. Okay, if you raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Before we get started, I will ask one of the commissioners to make a motion regarding the minutes of the November meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of November 10th, 2021.
Second.
Hi. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposed, so passed. Okay. The first case, is 2021-081A at 8248 Keystone, a residential first and second floor addition for Brock Maxwell. Are they here tonight? Okay, come on up.
Staff prefers option number 2, a fire sprinkler is required. The plat of survey must be updated prior to submitting for a building permit. Staff prefers a window or small high windows on the south elevation. The north elevation does not show the proposed raised windows.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Which is the south elevation it's referring to?
Well, the first comment was about the two different proposals. One, option 1, all siding, all siding. This was option 2, brick and siding. This was the
Mhm.
option that staff preferred. And they submitted revised elevations. This was the one to add the windows. The preference, staff's comment was to add a possibility of adding a window here. I'm sorry, that's the existing. Possibility of adding a window here. And then on one of the floor plans, I believe it says that these were, I believe these windows were gonna be raised. Raised window, I'm sorry. Yeah, those two, which I believe are the north elevation. So these seem to be showing. These seem to be shown as standard windows if these were gonna be raised or changed. What we weren't sure if the elevations actually represented that.
Sure. Comments from petitioner?
We are gonna raise those two windows for countertop space in the kitchen.
Keeping the size of the window the same as shown?
The window would be kept the same size, just the countertop height would have to be adjusted so we can use it accordingly.
Okay. Did you bring any materials
I
to
did,
show
I
us?
brought the roofing material and the siding that we would like to use.
The height of those windows on that side are all going to be the same, yeah?
For the picture, yes, the top portion of the window will meet, the top line of the windows will meet.
So maybe the lower,
The lower
It'll be a
portion will just be
shorter.
adjusted appropriately to accommodate the countertop height.
okay. As long as the top is the same. That's all I'm tracking of.
And the samples?
Would you like me to bring them over here? so-
You could just hold them up, I think.
Okay. So, this is the Williamsburg slate
Okay?
for the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Should I bring them closer so
Okay,
everyone can see?
you can see it.
You're good. And then for the siding, we'd like to use this gray color here.
Is that a cement board?
This is a vinyl siding.
Vinyl, okay. All right, and
We
so,
selected vinyl for the cost of the project to try to keep it within the budget for the project.
So are you willing to make the brick on the lower portion to make it?
We would like to stick with option 1 with your blessing, just simple fact of the cost of the overall project to accomplish it.
why did you submit option 2 then?
We did that as a backup, so maybe we don't have to revisit it, but after speaking with the client, which I've actually got the customer, I think Brock is here, I brought him with me, and after discussing the cost difference between, brick and siding, in order to accomplish the project, we would have to lean more towards that direction.
It just looks so much better.
Oh, absolutely, but financially.
Mm.
So, floor plan, Brian, where is this addition? Or site plan?
Rear addition.
So it's a rear addition, yeah, okay. And the siding, is that consistent with existing? Does it match existing?
There is 2 dormers on the house that we would be replacing the siding, so everything would be consistent and match.
Okay. Comments?
Yeah, oftentimes we look for hardy siding as opposed to vinyl siding.
We wouldn't be opposed to that.
And in this case, with the brick, and, you know, if it were vinyl siding on the top and brick on the bottom, that might be a good compromise, since the staff likes the brick better. You know, hardy siding adds a lot of cost. If you were to do the whole thing in hardy, take a look at the budget as far as brick, and I wouldn't be opposed to vinyl on the upper floor. It's pretty consistent with the neighborhood.
Yeah, we actually have an image of a house that's just, how far did you say it was from me?
It's right across the alley behind us.
Right across the alley from them. We have a couple pictures with us that they have an addition on the back with all vinyl siding.
I saw that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, there is a percentage brick requirement. Have you looked at that, and are you, I mean,
Is
does,
it with the addition, Brian, do you know?
We didn't do the specific numbers, but I believe with the rear elevation here being all siding, a little bit of brick, this being brick, that being a roofing material, brick siding, I believe they'd be over on the siding with option 1. We didn't run the 100% numbers, eyeballing it with that whole thing, that piece, those pieces, that not being, you know, a little bit of siding there, but the brick, I believe the brick is under the 50%.
So non-compliant,
Well, with the addition, it would be non-compliant, correct.
understood.
it seems like the brick is a better solution with vinyl on the upper floor. I mean, that way you don't have to do hardy, and it, you know, if it fits within your budget. Personally, I don't have an issue with the windows, since they're on the north and south side, which are on the side setback. So they adjoin. I know the house to the north, which would be the south elevation, looks like it's all brick with one window above. There it is. So I mean, it's really not visible. It's probably better for the resale and light and mudroom and everything, but it's not. To me, it's not a big issue. It looks like that's a mudroom. That's the south side.
At the back.
Yeah, at the back addition.
It is.
Just, there it is. Yep.
Mhm.
And you've got one window in the dining room, which is, and the stairs going down block the other, so it'd be a hard window to clean. So I don't have a problem with the windows.
So, I'm sorry, I may not have understood. Your preference is brick with vinyl siding?
Yeah, as proposed, as they proposed option 2, with
Okay.
vinyl above and brick on the first floor.
Any other comments?
May we ask you a question?
Sure.
Instead of having to revisit the cost and the option of the brick on the side of the house, it sounded to me like you wouldn't be opposed to actually using cement board. Would that be an option for us?
If you use it all around, I
The
wouldn't
whole
have a,
house, everywhere.
yeah, like
We
on
use
the
hardy board
dormers.
siding on the addition on the back and on the second floor, that would be
But that's
acceptable?
still in compliance, probably not.
You guys would have, you'd have to get the
Yeah.
waiver.
So it'd be okay.
As this with the condition and that not meeting the 50% masonry with the condition to do the specific type.
I don't mind hardy panel versus, all that vinyl on the first floor would be, and first and second floor is a problem for me. But if it were hardy, and I'm just speaking for myself here.
Sure.
But if it were hardy, if you went all the way around, including the dormer, so that everything's consistent, and I would not have an issue with it.
How does that sound?
If that's a viable option for us versus the brick, that would be something that we would ask you to consider. So,
Any objection to that, Jay, Mary Jane?
No, I think hardy board is good.
Okay,
It would be much better.
all right. Joe, you wanna, any other comments? Joe, what do you think?
Sure, I moved to,
Any neighbors? Did you
I'm
have?
sorry, are
oh,
are
we
there
got a
any
couple
neighbors
neighbors
present?
here.
Oh,
When we call the case, please come up. I don't know that I saw you testify. Okay, I'm gonna have to, please come up to the other podium and I'll swear you in. Right here.
Figured we're just the neighbors.
You're giving testimony.
Your neighbor? It's always a
And you're welcome.
Right here.
Right there is
Right,
fine.
that mic, that mic.
Right there is fine. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
do.
Thank you. What do you think?
I have no problems.
Okay.
We're
well-
on the south side of them.
Okay, and so what we've talked about with the use of hardy cement plank versus vinyl and brick, don't have a problem with?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
What do you think of the project? Looks okay?
No, it looks great. It has a lot of square footage.
We've
Okay.
lived in our house for over
Needed
40
space.
years, and we've added on and done projects, so God
We have
bless
hardy on
them.
ours.
Okay.
Let them go for it. It'd be nice to have something in the neighborhood.
All right, well, thank
Different.
you for coming. Thank you for sharing your comments with us, and, you know, when the project is done, maybe we can get a cup of coffee out of your new neighbor.
We had a lot of dust.
All right, thank you. Joe?
I moved that a certificate of appropriateness be granted for case number 2021-081A, using option 1, with the stipulation that it's all hardy siding, including the dormers on the front.
Does anyone second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed? So passed. Good luck.
Good evening, thank you.
You're welcome. The next case is number 2021-085A at 4225 Lyons. A first and second floor addition for Mike Matuk.
The second floor addition must meet the 25-foot front setback, or a variation must be obtained. A hip roof is recommended for the new 3-story north addition to match the existing roof.
How you doing?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Kirk Irwin. I'm the Matuk's architect, here with the owners, Mike and Runa Matuk.
Welcome.
And thank you for taking the time to review our project. And I have some hardy board samples.
Okay. Give us a second to get
Yeah.
acclimated.
Mhm. So it's
So-
an existing split-level house, and we're
Right.
adding about 1,200 square feet above one part of the split-level house, the west portion of the split level.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're adding a seating area and a cathedral ceiling in the intermediate area between the split levels. You
Brian,
can
stay
see
on
the-
that elevation if
You're
you.
right, the front, well, it shows up in the back, but that elevation right there. The north elevation's the one that's showing.
It's on the corner.
And so you can see on the right, the pair windows on the right, that's the addition.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the front entryway.
So the recommendation was a hip roof on the south elevation,
see.
right? No, on the north
On
elevation.
the north. One of the design objectives, if we can call it that, is that the existing house dumps a lot of snow on the entryway. So we wanted to solve that problem by changing the roof pitch so that the snow does not dump onto the front stoop.
Mm-hmm.
We are proposing hardy board for the second floor addition. I have 2 samples, with the lighter color being the primary field, and then the details, some trim in the darker color.
Mm-hmm.
And we selected this to be compatible with the existing brick. And it's, the existing brick is a unique brick. It's thin and narrow and long. And somebody did a really good job selecting that brick 50 or 60 years ago. So we were impressed by the quality of the original building.
Brian, any photos?
That's what
Yeah. I sent some.
might be at the end.
Yeah, look,
That's the corner, yeah.
there.
Mhm.
The colors as they exist are much redder and oranger than
Mhm.
And also a part of this project is re-roofing the entire existing, and, well, the existing roof will be re-roofed to match the shingle color of the addition.
Okay. Any thoughts? Anyone? Joe?
I really like what you've done here. It's really good, and I encourage you to ask for the variation in the front setback, because the existing house is what, 24 feet 10 or something like that?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
really close. And it would seem like if you had to do a step back or something, it would kind of ruin the whole kind of cleanness.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm wondering, because I really like what you did, because the bedroom windows are a little offset, and what you've done is you've kind of overtaken that a little bit to organize it.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
Thank you.
Any
Yeah.
comments on the roof, Joe? Nor I.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I know in consultation with the owner, they do desire to seek a variance for the 24.1 foot issue.
Good.
Okay, that would not be here, but
Yes, I understand.
good.
So, in the front, relief, is that a solid piece, or, it looks.
Thank you for asking it. The front door is set back
Mhm.
at the same plane as the addition to the right.
Okay,
The windows on the second floor and the cathedral ceiling are outboard of that. And it's an interesting existing condition we're responding to, because there's a kind of a play of planes that push in and out that
Mhm.
we're working with.
And that is entirely hardy,
Can
Solid
we,
color.
The left portion of kind of the pitch, that would be brick, that would match the existing
Okay.
brick on the building.
okay.
And I'd like to use
Good to know.
stack bond
Thank you.
brick, which is
That's what I
straight up,
hoped.
you know.
Yeah.
And just to add variety and differentiate it from the existing.
That's what I hoped.
would the change in planes be shown on the east elevation?
No,
No?
no, it would
West,
not.
maybe. West, probably. Right. Oh, hardly.
'Cause
Can't
it-
tell.
A li-
Right,
a
no,
little bit
they're
there.
hidden, they're hidden,
Right.
okay.
Can't tell.
I tried to show that with a dotted line, so that dotted line's essentially a soffit above the entry stoop.
Got it. Well, I don't have any problem with it.
I don't either.
Julie? Or
Yeah, I just have a
Mary Jane?
question first. How high is the new roof line? Is
To
it like
It's
27 feet or?
It's 29 feet to the
29,
top of the.
okay.
And then there's a requirement, I guess, for 23, to the gutter or something like that, so
Okay.
29 feet.
Yeah, but believe it
So
meets all the
I can
height
make a motion,
requirements.
but I won't say anything about a hip roof at this point.
Correct,
Okay.
if you'd like, go ahead.
I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted to case 2021-085A at 4225 Lion Street as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No opposed, so passed.
All right, thank you.
Good luck. Next case is case number 2021-086A at 4221 Church Street. A first and second floor addition and facade for Carvanha Dalal? Did I butcher that well? Or,
Hello.
I apologize if I did.
The existing front driveway and apron must be removed. The proposed front porch encroaches into the required 25-foot minimum front yard. The porch will need to be shortened, removed, or a variation must be obtained. The window above the front door should coordinate with the existing front floor windows. More than 50% of the building appears to be siding. Staff does not recommend a waiver, and at least 50% of the building be masonry to meet the ordinance requirement.
Just the site plan with the front entry, the covered front porch is not an allowable obstruction into the required 25 foot.
Okay.
So, you know, it says new two-story. I don't know if the building's coming down to foundation or not. It looks like the building footprint is staying in its current location, so we're not 100% sure if this is a new house or if it's coming down to foundation and rebuilding up. Driveway that's in the front has to be, apron and driveway in the front has to be removed. The new two-car garage will have to meet all zoning setbacks.
Stick with the picture for a minute, Brian. Which property are we talking about?
The lower left.
Lower
This one,
left,
yes,
that one,
yes.
okay. And the big one in the upper left?
That's to the east that's to the east.
That's to the
Of
east?
East, yes.
Okay, all right.
And, yeah, the bottom right is to the west.
Bottom
the
right is
neighbor,
to the
yeah.
west, okay.
So
All right,
exit
now go ahead, Brian.
porch, first floor, basement,
Yeah.
second floor, roof over the front porch. Lot of siding, brick in the front, brick siding. All siding in the rear, majority siding on the west.
And the materials you're proposing there are
Hardy.
hardy?
Hardy, yeah, vertical and brick with stone at the front and
Okay.
returning on the sides up
All
to a
right,
certain
you're,
distance.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Up to, yeah, fine.
You're aware of the 50% masonry requirement for the village? There is a
Yes,
50% requirement for masonry in the village, which you presently don't comply with. So you probably want to rethink some of the elevations for the addition of brick or stone to replace some of the hardy. Okay? The other comment of concern is the setback.
Right,
So
the
your
front
porch encroaches on the setback. Don't know at what point it encroaches. Would it have to be removed in its entirety, Brian, or shortened to
Pretty-
just an eyebrow, or?
Pretty much.
Uh,
If he has to comply, it has to get removed.
Yeah,
It's,
a majority of it is, a
Wouldn't have to
majority of
be
it's in.
removed.
Now, there are a
Or
lot,
pull the whole project back.
there are,
well, that's an existing wall there, so
Oh.
it'll be kind of hard to do
yeah,
that.
so are you coming down to foundation with this? I mean, it's all new elevations. I mean, you're really taking this thing down as much as possible to rebuild.
Well, the front wall and the west wall will keep, just the south and the east are the ones that, gonna get demolished. Because we're expanding to the east, that wall is gonna get demolished and towards the back. But the west and front, we wanted to keep.
it's all new brick, correct?
The brick will be all new.
Yeah, so, you are allowed a front canopy overhang into the front yard 3 feet with no ground support. It can be bracketed back to the building, but to encroach into the required 25-foot, you are allowed 3 foot, attached, with support back to the building to encroach 3 foot into the front yard, if that's an option. So if this were to come out 3 foot into the
Yeah.
25,
Mhm.
bracket back,
Right.
column comes down 3 foot, something, that's permitted by right.
Benefit the elevation.
Okay. So basically, yeah, if we remove the porch and provide that 3-foot canopy, then we
That
don't have to
would, that
go
would
through
meet
the
zoning,
variation.
that would meet zoning, and now, you would not be required to get a variation, correct?
Right.
Now it's the,
So you might need some significant engineering to accomplish that, because you'll have to eliminate your posts,
The posts, yeah.
right? Don't know if that's doable, at, for that size of a
Yeah.
shed. So consider that. We can, does anybody else, everything else about it looks fairly decent. I don't have any major concerns with the appearance of the work. The masonry requirement, I don't know where you would want to consider masonry.
Well, maybe on the side here, on that elevation, the east elevation, if we break around that bump out, that whole 2-story bump out, I believe that's gonna get close to it.
That would be more in keeping with the conversation we had a couple of applicants ago. The reason why I didn't have a problem with Hardy on that one is that it's set back, like it was set back 2 or 3 feet on each side, and it was actually, so it was brick wrapped around, and then it was Hardy with a 2-foot reveal, kind of, it was set in 2 feet. Whereas this case, this side has got a little bit of a bump out. The other side is flat with just a kind of a arbitrary line where the brick stops. And so, in which case, it just seems like there needs to be, you need to knit it together a little bit more. If you can pull up the elevation of the other side, that one. It's just kind of an arbitrary spot where you stopped. I didn't really have a problem with the other side because of the gable, and then you gotta bump out for the gable. So if there's a way to work the brick in a little bit better on this side somehow.
What we
I'm not
can
sure
do
what
is,
that is.
what we can do is give you some time to review what you think you can accomplish out in the hall, come back with an idea, a suggestion as to, how we can make a motion to, we could say you're obliged to provide 50% masonry, or you can say, hey, I'll put it on the south elevation and the west elevation and leave the others, if that's a concern for you. So
Right.
if you want to, regroup in the hallway,
Yeah.
I can recall your case in a little bit,
Okay,
if
That
you want
sounds
to
fair.
address some of the issues we've talked about.
okay, sounds good, yeah.
Okay.
And it seems like the covered porch is a good idea, and I think you can do a 3-foot with
3-foot
with a
with
pretty
no-
simple bracket without a
Bracket,
lot of
yeah.
hyper engineering. So,
Right.
but it definitely would benefit your elevation. It's
Right.
too bad the porch doesn't work. I think the porch is
Yeah.
a nice touch.
or the columns can be in line with the existing wall that's 25, if you need, again, that's up to you guys to,
Okay,
but if it's possible to try to get something even right at the edge here,
mhm,
and then with an overhang still of 3 more feet, but have something, that's more of a design, that's for you guys to think about.
Right.
But that's an option too, either remove them, bracket it back 3 foot into the 25, or have something roughly in line with this, to have something with to still have an overhang and still kind of achieve
So
that
the overhang we're allowed to have is 3 feet from the,
25 foot.
from the 20,
So,
encroach 3 feet into the 25 foot.
So
setback.
if this wall
Right,
here is
yeah. Yeah,
25,
that's
3
the
feet
20.
into here.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it, okay.
So that might be an additional, I don't know, is that 8 inches, 6, 8 inches a
Right.
foot? So from here, you might have closer to 4 feet.
4 feet, yeah.
Right,
Okay,
correct.
That was my point, okay, yeah.
And-
If we
and
can
be-
discuss a
Before you
little bit.
leave, let's get a look at the window that was commented on.
Oh,
It said the window above the front door should coordinate with the existing front floor. I presume that's first floor.
Well, with the front elevation a little
Okay.
bit better. Those are in line, this kind of hangs lower. It's,
So the comment there is it's not the same
Height, the
height,
head- the head of
nor,
the window?
nor the same dimension as the other two on it. Not that it has to be, but could it be? It looks a little out of place.
It does, yeah.
There's a
Well,
second, there's a
Just
two-story.
two-story open space, that's why.
Trying to bring maximize the light.
Hmm.
yeah, it was, the main concern were the encroachments and the masonry. That was just it looks, like you said, it's,
Mm-hmm. Is that centered
Would-
in the atrium?
Yes, maybe we can add some mullions just to match the design of the other windows, probably look. And we can, I believe we can adjust the head to match either side. Just raise it up a little bit. But that's a two-story foyer.
Yep. Well, give that some thought,
Okay,
all right? And we'll give you some time to think
Sure.
about it,
yeah,
and we won't leave until you come back. Okay, thank you.
thank you.
All right, we'll move on at this point to case number 2021-087A at 9256 Hamlin, which is a first and second floor addition and facade for Abby Pollen and Simon Analik.
A fire sprinkler,
Go ahead.
fire sprinkler is required for the entire house due to the size of the addition. The maximum driveway width at the right-of-way is 22 feet. Rear elevation, what is that? Why is it narrow? It's like an end. Yeah, I don't know what that
oh,
means.
I'm sorry. We had the revised comments.
I don't have one of
Did you get cut off? Is that?
Yeah,
I did
that's-
get cut
okay.
off.
That was an early draft.
those. Okay, front setback is 25 feet, but if 60% of homes on that side of the block have a setback other the required 25 feet, the front setback becomes the average of the two neighboring homes.
Okay, welcome.
It's not written correctly. Mhm.
You guys are the homeowners? Okay.
That's existing.
All right, so there's the addition surrounding the rear and the west,
Mhm.
or the west and the south.
Mhm.
Is that right? Okay.
Actually, keep going. But you submitted the-
Yeah, I did. I sent yesterday, they added some more detail on there. I have printed out copies if you want them, but I think you said to bring hard copies.
Yeah, do you have
But
them?
I have them.
Thank you.
So it's gonna be about 32 feet.
Okay, great, thank you.
The elevation would be the last. Oh, excellent, yeah. While we're kind of reviewing this stuff, on the proposed site plan, you've got a three-car garage that goes straight out to the street, and it looks like you've revised it to notch it back on this one?
Correct.
Okay, that's better. That's an important code and part of the code, in my opinion.
Right.
Because otherwise, you've got a 32-foot wide, which is essentially the size of a street.
No, we're not doing that.
So I appreciate that. It softens the look of the house. It's kind of a pain if you've got an RV, but so what? So I appreciate that you revised that. I walked by here a couple of weeks ago, and I was wondering what was happening with this house.
We need some work.
Yeah, it's one of those elegant houses over in that neighborhood, and looked like it was a little neglected, but not too bad.
I think our plan is to modernize it and
Yeah,
utilize the lot a little bit better than it's been
yeah,
utilized now.
I noticed it. I was like, oh, that's a nice house. So,
Driveway is 22 feet setback. And did you address the setback, or did you measure the neighbors?
Well, no,
Not-
no, I mean, the setback here is 24.72, so it's a quarter of a foot, so what is that, 3 inches? I mean, we can make that adjustment if we have to.
Okay. Perfect.
Well, it's not a 25-foot required front yard.
Sorry?
It's not a 25-foot required front yard.
60%,
If 60, yeah, if more than 60%, then you're required. So it depends on what the other setbacks are of the houses.
so the house to the south of us is.
Well, it depends on the entire block.
Right,
If
the
you hit
house-
that, if you hit that number, then you average. If not, then it defaults to the 25.
The house to the north of us is about 100 feet away because it's on the easement. So there's, it says
It-
on the,
It's not a corner, there's no street dividing it, so it goes up the whole street.
So it goes all the way, you say it goes all the way to the church, all the way.
Whatever the next east-west actual street is.
Foster, so it covers 3 full blocks.
Possibly.
And there's no break
it's
there.
almost not fair. I'm sorry, and because that's actually a right-of-way that was never. It was a street that was never built. So that little walkway is what is on what was once the right-of-way.
Right, the
So-
architect drew it to the 25-foot mark, I think.
The challenge here, is that I think the rule is that you average on the block, and I think that's what we're dealing with. If you were to average everything south to, what is that, Church?
Well, if it's the majority, if you hit the 60%, other than the 25, then you average. If 60% don't have it, then you go to the 25.
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
So if 60% of the homes on that side of the block, street to street, have a setback other than the required 25, so it has to be a clear majority, have a setback other than 25, you average the neighboring 2 buildings. So if a majority of the homes have a setback different than the 25-foot requirement, that means they're either too far forward, back, then you average the closest setback to building to the north, closest setback building to the south to get your setback. If you don't hit the 60%, it's a 25-foot setback.
So
Or the
if it's
60%.
Even if it's more than 25, if it's, 25
Correct.
foot
If-
is the standard.
if 70
So if the average on the block is 30,
Then you're at 30.
then I need to be at 30.
Well, you would average the neighboring two
The
homes.
neighboring two.
The majority of the homes set the precedence for your setback. So some blocks, in some cases, south of Village Hall here, there's some setback, there's some that are 15. There are some that are 20, quite a few 25-ish, and then the northeast part of town, there's some blocks that are majority 30, 32, 34. And this code was updated several years ago because it used to be, I think, 35 or 40% of the buildings set the tone for the rest of the block, and it was flip-flopped to 60%.
Right.
So 50% have 30, 50% have 25, it's a 25-foot setback.
And we're just talking about the covered porch that encroaches on the
Yes.
setback, right?
That's it.
That's
All
it.
right.
I bet you're gonna be fine, just looking at Google
Yeah,
Earth here.
and I would bet, take that bet. Tell us about the rest of your materials. The house looks great. Tell us what you're
So
doing
the
there.
existing house now has a stone facade, and it's stone on the north side, which is pretty visible because of this easement and walkway that runs through the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
That's on the first floor, and the second floor is,
some kind of vinyl
I
siding.
think it's wood,
Oh, it's wood siding, but it's old.
which we'll be replacing with, hardy board or,
Yeah, we have the samples here of that.
on the second floor, and the first floor will be brick or the stone.
Okay.
We'll make the 50% room, no problem.
Okay. And colors? Do you have
Yeah, so the
any
colors we're
ideas?
leaning, and the roof will be asphalt shingles, probably GAF or something similar, so on the siding, we're
Would be the
looking at
iron
this
gray.
iron gray for hardy,
Okay.
most likely, or something close.
Mm-hmm.
And
If
then-
we end up going with the LP brand, which is the same product,
Mhm.
similar product. And then, on the roof, we're looking at, here we go. Doesn't look good from the picture, but it's called weathered something, weathered wood or something.
Architectural style shingle.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then we're looking at doing over the, if we can do this front porch or that, if we have the right setback, then we're looking at doing the pack-clad metal roof on that part. And the one we're looking at as of now is called, oh, I can't see, musket gray.
Okay. The hardy shows a, what do you call that? A shake look.
So no, so that if you look at the plan you have in front of you, and look at the last plan, you'll see that it's
Ah,
Vertical.
okay.
vertical, beadboard.
And are those battens then?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
And the brick color?
The stone, well, the stone right now is like like a cream color stone. We don't know because it's really dirty, so, but somewhere around that color. And the brick, we're assuming we're gonna probably just paint it to match the hardy. So it's not so choppy looking.
All right. Comments? Jay? Mary Jane, comments?
And I'm just looking at the colors.
Mm-hmm.
So in the upper level, you have hardy board.
Correct.
Yeah, and then the lower, the first floor is natural stone.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
In the
And
front.
did you have samples or,
Of the stone?
pardon me?
That's existing?
Of the stone?
Is that what they're
Or the
trying
hardy
to
board?
match it?
Yeah,
Well,
we
the
just
hardy
showed
was
that.
just shown.
Yeah, we were just
That's the
talking about
gray.
it.
Is it
That's what we're looking
the
at.
gray?
Yep.
Okay.
And then in the back with the added brick would be painted similar color.
Uh-huh,
To match.
okay. No, I think I understand it.
Okay. Anyone else? Julie? Joe?
Looks good.
Nicely done, which is
Thank you.
nice,
Agreed.
really, everything about it. Particularly like how you set back the additional garage.
Thank you.
Nice touch.
Okay. Julie, feel up to it?
All right. I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted in case 2021-087A at 9256 Hamlin Avenue as presented.
As presented in the revised.
In the revised
You're
drawings
correct.
that were
Yeah, we'll,
received.
we'll make sure this gets scanned into our system.
Okay.
And compliance with. the
Oh, in
setback.
compliance with the setbacks that are required based on the neighborhood averages for neighbors.
Anyone second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No opposed, so passed. Good luck.
That looks good.
Thank you. Okay, the next and the last residential case we have on the docket tonight is 2021-072A, 8630 Keeler, and first, second, and third floor addition, continued from the November 10th meeting. Are they here? Both parties are here? Okay. Come on up.
Revised plans were submitted at 8:43 PM on Tuesday, December 7, 2021. Typically, revised plans are submitted no later than the Friday before the meeting, so staff can review, comment, and post the documents online. Staff will defer to the Appearance Commission if this case should be heard.
Good evening.
Good
Welcome
evening,
back.
team.
Welcome back.
Want me to finish this one?
Sure, whatever.
Staff has no objection to the design of the proposed addition as long as the setback approved by the Zoning Board of Appeal is met.
Okay, so last month, we were here, and we didn't bring the case to a vote. The suggestion was made to get together and come to some compromise if you could.
Right.
Weren't they asked to make some new drawings?
So this was the submittal for the November hearing with
Right.
with the wraparound porch.
Right.
there. And the 30-foot, I believe, 30-foot 6-inch top of roof here.
We reduce the height to the same height of the house.
Well, revised drawings would be forthcoming based on the
This-
results of
this
your
is-
discussions and a compromise.
This is the revised that was submitted to staff last
It was
evening.
last month.
Okay.
So you have,
So we have new drawings for you to see.
Since-
Unfortunately,
Since,
here they are.
Since last November, there are new drawings?
They're
Since
new
November.
drawings that were submitted last night.
Right.
All right, well, I thought it's supposed to be submitted like a week before, so everybody has a chance to look at them.
They are, and we can continue
there is-
again, unless you want to, if you want to, if you're the neighbor who has concerns, we can do that. The submission was not compliant with the requirement. I'm going to allow you to basically decide whether or not you need that time.
I think
to-
we would like the time to be able to examine it.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing was,
I have the
I
drawing.
think the biggest thing was the removal of windows that face into our bedroom
Mhm.
window. And the removal of the balcony that comes close to the,
And we don't know if they've done that or not.
Yeah,
Because-
I haven't seen it either,
Okay.
right.
right.
no, but
Right there.
we changed according to your requirements, everything that was mentioned. So let's start with the height. The height was changed to be the same rather than 32. Let's go to the front. You asked, okay. Can you go to the more colorful? Here we are. Yeah, if you can look at the right side, we used to have a balcony that go and looping all around. And you asked us to remove it, so we did remove it. The balcony is more on the north, which doesn't face them. More so the importance of that for emergency, since you see it's a long house. And the first time, we proposed to have stairs from that section down to the garage so they can escape. But now that they didn't give us the distance that we wish to have 6 foot, so we have a door to exit and escape in the case of emergency. Okay, so, and that's if you turn and look at the north side. That's it. So, in case of emergency, since again, it's a very long house, we have small grandchildren that come, and they'll use that.
So,
But we changed the deck, it's not going all around, and it's more within the theme of the house.
but there is still a deck that wraps
Now, we're gonna
around
put
and
trees-
looks in at the neighbors.
I'm sorry,
But there
regarding,
is still a deck that it wraps around
north side.
and looks at the neighbors. And I believe those are the 2 windows that are of concern still.
Right. Also, there's something, we agreed to the 3-foot setback on the first floor with the idea that there was going to be a 9-foot setback on the second floor and no third floor. So now we're kind of thrown that he's just doing a third floor. But there's also there's something jetting out above the balcony, above the garage, which brings it closer, even beyond the 3-foot setback.
wait, excuse me, can you be more
Yeah,
specific?
right above the garage.
Yes. What is the problem above the garage?
It's like, it jets out like within a foot of the property
Yeah,
line.
okay, I have a air view that will reflect,
Well,
there are many
you can
trees.
see from the
Forgive me,
drawing.
forgive me.
Hold on a second
Forgive
here.
me.
Let me jump in, because it's a little tit for tat thing going on here. You've revised you've taken the balcony off the front elevation.
Right,
You've shortened the deck so that
Right.
there's no overhang on the deck like there was before.
right,
So the only overhang is on the roof projection that you've designed at the
Correct.
So the balcony is 3 feet from the property line. There's no overhang.
there's no overhang.
Okay, because previously you had a.
There was, and now
so it was
we
2
went
feet
back
from
and got the garage. And again, the reason I kept the length is for emergency. Before, it was indoor, when I could go farther north,
Honestly.
do you understand?
Yeah,
That's why we kept that. But yes, we
I
removed
just
that
wanted to-
portion.
I just wanted
Yeah,
to
we removed the
resolve
portion you
the tit for tat
spoke
thing
about.
going on,
Let's
so.
go to the
Well, can I see that,
elevation, if
can I
you
see the
don't mind.
front view again of the garage? Can I see the front view again of the garage?
Here.
So what's that hanging out over the garage on the right side? Right
This?
there, yeah, right side.
No, that's
an
from the
allowable-
angulation,
an
that's
allowable
nothing.
eave. You're allowed to have an eve overhang into
Right.
the space, so.
Even into the street.
That
beyond the
is,
street
it
portion.
is, it's the eve, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
Originally, we had an agreement. We met with the zoning committee, right? We ended that meeting with allowing him to have a 3-foot setback, which is unheard of
On the first floor,
On the
correct,
first
on that property.
right.
No, but it's garage. Garage has a code for that.
Expand the garage. We
But-
agreed to that with a 2-story only at 9 feet, which is the
Ca-
easement, which is the zoning markings of that golf course property. You take a look at this man's property, you take a look at the size of his house, and all around that house, go ahead and put up the original photos with bird's eye view, and he's infringing onto our small house next door.
On the south and on the west side of his property, and
Okay,
And
so
it's
let
got
me,
a-
Not okay. It's
Let
not
me-
okay. I
wait,
don't
wait.
want a window facing into my
I-
bedroom window, and I don't want a balcony looking out so
Can
his
I- can I
grandchildren
talk?
could go ahead and play close to our windows.
okay, let me explain.
I don't
She's
want an
drinking,
explanation from you,
look,
okay?
There's an issue here in that, the zone, it's the zoning, this meets what the zoning, there's a 9-foot setback above. We're an appearance commission.
Right.
And
Right.
unfortunately, we don't
This-
handle zoning and setback, we just don't. Does this conform to aesthetics and context? And
Right.
please, there's gotta be some.
so we change
There's
the
gotta be
according to
some
what you asked.
organization here, otherwise we're gonna be bickering all night, so I don't
Right.
wanna have people talking over each other. I'm just a member, I'm sorry, Mr.
Thank you.
Chair.
No, go right ahead. I'm listening.
We changed everything you asked. we cut, we shortened, we reduced the height, we reduced the size of the window, we'll put trees. By the way, they're going to stay, the trees that are existing there, the majority will stay. If necessary, I'll be happy to put more trees to
Is there
block
gonna be a
them.
walkway? on
That's
the-
no problem.
Is there
I'm
gonna
so-
be a walkway on
No,
the
no,
the
no,
north side
no,
of the
no.
garage? So
There's
you'll
no
have-
walkway.
that 3
The
feet
trees will be
be-
right next to the wall,
It will
exactly.
be all landscaped.
Yes, and there's existing trees that separate the house that you don't see here, obviously. They're right next to the new trees that we put. And I can show you that from the elevation,
Before we go
and
there,
from air view.
Brian, the zoning question.
Yes.
Does this comply with what was agreed upon during the zoning meetings?
Right.
They split the vote for the first floor and the second floor. First floor was approved at 3 foot,
Right,
second floor denied.
Right, so now it is
So
30 foot.
They are allowed to build by right up to 32 feet tall. The first floor was approved at 3, this meets the 3-foot setback. Anything above that has to meet the 9-foot setback, which this does.
So we are even more conservative than what the zoning approved. We reduced it.
But this is an appearance issue, right? You're
Uh,
the appearance board, so.
correct.
How it looks on the golf course, how it looks with all the other homes on the golf course, and how it's gonna
And by
affect
the
our
way,
property.
one of the things that they resist, which I can understand, is that we were going to put cover on the roof, on the pool, and we're not going to put the cover on the pool, which doesn't give the best aesthetic.
I never said anything
No,
about the
but
pool.
okay, whatever, okay. So I wish to think, hope we will resolve it today. It's,
Neighbors?
Our feeling is that if you were to come out to the property and see what he's planning on putting, even with following the guidelines, that this is not an aesthetic thing that's going to be good for the area. It's not something that's going to be good. We've submitted a letter from our landscaper who does a lot of the homes on the golf course, who said anything 3 feet, even 9 feet of anything 3 stories, even 9-foot setback is going to destroy a lot of the vegetation and hardscape in our property.
so let me clarify.
Please, sir, I have a landscape architect here. Can you opine about that?
Well, you can't depend on those trees to just protect your rights, because the trees could die tomorrow after everything is approved and they're not gonna be there. So I don't think you can depend on the landscaping to create the barrier that you want.
No, we're talking about the grass and the flowers that are on our property, right next to our property line. I'm not talking about the trees or the.
Well, your comments was with regard to your landscaper had concerns about,
That wall that he's putting up next to our house is gonna block the sun from.
so your vegetation would be
Yeah,
affected
but
by
it's-
the height of the wall.
We did, with all the respect, and I appreciate, we did check how much sun. They write, the little bit changes will be only in the winter when the sun are more lower and coming, arching from the south. But during the summer, it goes directly vertically and there's not gonna be any change. I did scientific study, I'm engineer,
In a chair, watching how the sun moved. He did that.
Okay?
It's intrusive, it's not proper, it's not nice to do this to us. We bought this property on the golf course, as I mentioned before, because of the aesthetics, because we have air around our hill. We would have built anywhere else, but we chose this way sooner than he moved in.
okay, so I will say the following. The addition is, yes, bordering with the property, yet it's not bordering with the walls of the house, it's bordering with the garden. Okay, and the garden has about 40 feet before 50 feet. It doesn't disturb anything. And the trees will stay there, we don't change any trees there.
But the rules are within the property line, and you are, you know, right on, you know, the extent of the rule at both elevations, so
Right.
that is the concern. Can I ask a question? Before this addition, how far was the existing wall? What was the setback of the existing wall before the addition?
No, okay, this is just above the garage. The garage is 3 feet. The second floor is 9 feet from the line.
In the revised, what was the original?
Okay, the zoning, okay, good question. Initially, we were approved for 6 feet on the second floor. And then, because the complaint of the neighborhood, then they changed it to the standard, which is 9 feet. And we absorbed it, we reorganized everything according to the zoning, as well as the height of the
Is the
roof.
new addition,
So-
that which is dimensioned in red there, is that 17 feet,
16, I believe?
16, 8?
16 with the
Yeah.
9 foot, so approximately 25 feet,
From
the
property
north
line.
property line.
All right.
If
so
this,
now-
if
and
this
now-
is all new here,
Got it.
Second floor, yes.
So it will be 9 feet instead of 25,
Right.
which is substantial.
And thus your concerns.
The landscaping question is, what you're proposing is, whatever you propose is gonna have to really like shade, because the trees that are on the property line are about 60 feet tall, so as far as sun goes, those trees are already shading your yard. The existing, I think the question you had was the existing garage.
Okay, right.
What
So
is the
let me-
existing setback?
Let me, and I want to be very transparent. Currently, the trees arching above the garage, half of them, and above the second floor. And they truly scraping all my roof, and we have leaks as a result. Whether I build or not, I'll have to cut a good portion of the tree that arching right above the garage. So whether we have second floor or not, it destroying and causing leaks in our house. And I can show you a picture of that. Please put the picture so everybody will see it.
You're allowed to prune
Is
a
that
tree,
okay? Can I
in
put the
your own-
picture?
You're allowed to prune a tree in your own yard, there's no.
Okay, it cover, by the way, we have a neighbor that used to be in the south, and the pollen, and we had the tree from our
Is there someone else
yard.
concerned about this case that wants to?
No.
We cut the tree that they asked us to cut that was from our property, so.
You
You
cut it
know-
right in half, too, you left the stump.
I-
20 feet
But
tall.
I'm saying,
It looks
look,
terrible. Get rid of it.
These trees could be 100 years old, and yes, they're right on the property line. He is allowed to cut the ones that we
well, the one that
Mr.
can
Chair,
fall on the
Mr.
roof, that's all.
This is appearance, and so if it conforms to height and it conforms to zoning, he's made the changes that we recommended, which, I mean, he pulled the balcony back. It seems like a lot of this is, I don't think we're gonna be able to resolve anything here because it meets it falls within the envelope. You've been here before, we made recommendations, you made the changes that we recommended. We can continue to make recommendations and have this revolving door thing, and it's not fair to the applicant, it's not fair to anybody. If there's a challenge, doesn't that seem to be the plan commission's concern or the village board's concern?
Well, your comments are well taken and well said. The resubmission complies with everything zoning, and it really comes down to appearance, which is in our jurisdiction to discuss. The only thing that I am somewhat concerned about right now is the late submission of the revised plan. The revised plan that you're seeing tonight for the first time does seem to conform with all of the concerns that you have, other than it's too close. A subjective,
My architect was ill, and he was hospitalized. And I pushed as hard as I can so he can present it to the board on time. He couldn't. He did it last night. He just recovered.
And that's fine, thank you. Brian, are we at risk if we hear a motion on this case?
They submitted, was continued to make revisions. Whether 100% of those revisions were addressed and made is subjective. In regards to what's being proposed, what they're proposing doesn't violate what the zoning board approved, or doesn't violate the zoning height, the setback for anything above that first floor. The question is more the aesthetics. And Matt, if you want to chime in.
Yeah, I just wanted, this was on the agenda as shown and posted 2 days ago. I'm sorry? This item, this was on the agenda.
Yeah, we knew they were gonna continue, we were told they were going to resubmit, so the item was continued knowing that they were going to resubmit. The late submittal was a bit of a concern, but they were always on the agenda, so we didn't throw this case on yesterday. The agenda was posted previously at the meeting, it was continued to tonight's meeting also, so we didn't throw this case on after the
Okay.
fact, so.
All right. Can I just say one-
It was a
just-
late submittal, but we got it.
I'm gonna close it down with one last comment from
Yeah, I just want to
the
say just one
neighbors.
point. You mentioned, I called yesterday because I didn't see the plans on the thing, and I believe it was Brian who said, well, there's no new plans submitted, so they're probably not going to show up. So
Okay.
we almost didn't come tonight, but we came because just
If
in
you,
case.
and I will say to that, if you were not here, we would not be having this conversation right now. So, you're here, thank you for coming. Anything else? Sir? Anything, any last comments?
I know it's going to be within the specification of the village, and my build-out will be a pride for the village of Skokie. It's one of the, not because I own it and I want to say, wow, but this house is open for all the neighborhoods, for activities, for charity, and we want to continue the same theme. And when you go and you'll see it from close, not from this picture, it doesn't change. It's beautifying, it doesn't really block what they say, but I understand, not everybody happy in this world.
And I don't want to comment any further. I'm inclined to bring this to a vote. Do I have any objections to that? Commissioners, I'm inclined to bring this to a vote. Do you object?
No.
Objections? Okay.
You can bring it to a vote, I'm not gonna agree with that.
Does anyone want to make a motion?
I moved that a certificate of appropriateness be granted for case number.
2021-072A.
What he just said, located at 8630 Keeler.
In the revised.
And the revised December 7th.
Does anyone second? All in favor?
No.
Aye. I'm sorry?
Aye.
No.
So we have 3 noes, 2 ayes. Sorry, the motion is not carried.
Not what?
It's not carried.
And just to clarify, you can go to the plan commission without, this is just advisory, so there's, in my assumption, that's why I'm looking at you.
It's the appearance commissions, they cannot go to the plan commission for an appearance request. They could resubmit. They have every right to resubmit and come back and, I'll talk to council too to see if there's anything additional to add, and that'll be relayed to the petitioner. But
I'd
they
like to
can-
amend my vote, and I'm gonna vote yes, because it meets all of the standards, and they met the standards that I asked for last time. They made the changes, and so I'm actually, if I can do that.
So I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
And the only reason why I did that was because you made the changes that I asked for. And so
Doesn't
I
look
just,
right.
just as, out of ethics, I need to vote yes.
The
Okay.
changes that you made, though, when we were here the last time, there would be no windows right looking into our bedroom window.
The changes was,
And that was,
The,
every,
all
okay.
of the changes are compliant with the village code.
But we wouldn't know because we're not architects and we haven't had a chance to look at things, so you gotta take your word for it, I guess.
Well, we're relying on staff to make sure
But
that
I
we're
hope they
covered
got a
as
chance
well.
to look at it in detail.
But we're here to evaluate what it looks like, and it doesn't look like it belongs to
and
this
would you
house.
like to look at your windows?
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I just don't
Close
think it
at
fits the
3
house.
feet from the lot line practically?
And it is compliant.
I
So,
understand all that.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to end conversation on this case at the present time, I'm sorry.
Something that would be really helpful
Yeah.
would be to do a site plan with
I'm sorry?
do a site plan for the plan commission where the neighbors' houses are, and place the
I'm
neighbors'
going to follow all
houses.
the,
Place the neighbors' houses
Yep.
on your plan,
no problem.
because it's actually set back behind your, it looks to me like the new addition is set back behind the back corner of the southwest corner of your house. So when you're placed all together, it actually isn't right house to house, from what I can tell, and just please do that. The site plan will help.
Okay.
Put it on an aerial photograph, get your surveyor to do a corner or something of the neighbor's house. It'll
So
go
it's-
along,
you're
it'll
talking
go
about the
along,
southwest
it'll go a
corner.
long way. Just, I don't wanna belabor it, just have your architect sell it.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I don't know where this came from. All right,
Do you want to go back to the residential case?
yes, if they are ready. All right, recalling case number 2021-086A at 4221 Church Street.
I can't. I just don't think it belongs there. I didn't vote for it last time either.
Okay.
Okay, there are your elevations.
Yes,
What'd you
can
come
you-
up with?
Yeah, we talked to our clients. Can you go to the satellite image on the very first page? We discussed, and actually, these are our clients, R1 and Q. The house to the east, which is the big house, there is a lot of distance between that house and their house, so they decided, just driving on that street, it's a lot more visible elevation, so they decided to break that whole site with the bump out. And the back and the west side are gonna be vertical hardy board side.
So Brian, go back to the photos. You're talking about the White House to the east,
Yeah,
upper left-hand
see,
corner.
you can see from the image how much
So,
distance is to their house, so they decided that they wanna break the east side, yeah, that one. The
okay.
entire
So
brick
it'd be-
side with the bump out.
So this
The
entire,
entire site
and the
will be
front.
brick, yeah. And the neighbor to the west is very close, so they decided to kind of keep that as a vertical siding because it's not that visible. But what we're gonna do is, because it's not gonna look too nice to just end the brick at the corner, we're gonna return it about a foot, just to give it a little bit nicer look.
Mhm.
And the whole east side will be brick. So basically,
What about
there'll be
that?
more than 50% because of the bump out. So
So-
the front and the east facade
Front,
will be all
east.
brick.
Where's the south?
and then this would stay the same?
Well, no, that's gonna just be about a foot, just return, yes, there, to just end the brick. There. And the entire west facade will be vertical siding,
And
because the
south?
neighbor to the west is very
The
close.
entire
so
east,
The entire east will be brick, yes, that one.
What about
Brick.
the south?
brick,
The south will be vertical siding,
Oh.
that will be the rear. towards the.
It'd
towards
meet the 50%.
Yes,
If you hit, it'll meet the 50%. The question is, the east elevation clearly is gonna be more visible due to the
exactly,
setback.
yes, because of the distance to the neighbor's house, which is, ours, dad's house. So,
Okay, thank you for reconsidering. A little surprised by your suggestion. You may have considered, you know, brick up to the second floor and siding above to achieve the same requirement.
Unfortunately. Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? Now you're gonna have, two elevations of solid brick, that would seem like a lot, and a couple of elevations of solid siding would seem like a lot as well. You know, you have an opportunity here, I think, to provide some interest, by using, you know, different materials on the same elevation,
yeah,
but.
yeah, well, the stone, yeah,
I would agree
it'll be
with
the
that.
stone
I
base
think it's
is,
kinda
I guess,
very odd.
the mayor's comment is that, you know, you're gonna have two elevations
No,
of
it's like we
siding and
ran out
two
of
with
money.
brick. Versus if you wanna do the entire first floor with brick and the whole front and everything else on three sides of siding, we can do that as well.
Either way, we are gonna make sure that there's gonna be 50% or more masonry.
How you get there is up to you. Yes, but it may look a little awkward having a whole facade of brick and a whole facade of siding. When you have the option now, I think, to, you
Make
know,
it more
use both
cohesive design
on
all the way
each
around.
elevation. Just a thought.
Yeah, all right. Okay, if we say, yeah, we're gonna comply to the 50%, either way, we'll either make it,
Well, I don't know
Kinda
that,
need to
I don't know if
know.
we can, we
Kinda need
we
to
would get
know.
everybody to agree to that, just do 50% and stop, not knowing where you're going to use it. Joe, any
Yes, I
ideas?
certainly do, but I'm not gonna
Jump right
design,
in.
I'm not gonna design their house. It's not fair. They spent some time and came back with a solution that, they wanted to meet our
Oh,
concerns.
Okay,
Just as far as some of the conversations going on this side, I think the rear elevation with board and batten siding looks fine. It's in keeping with the style of the house. The front is definitely more of a classical style that deserves a lot of brick. You know, if you did brick to the bump out and not beyond it, I'd be fine with that. But if you meet your 50% standard, however you do it, as long as you don't take any of the brick off the front, I don't have a problem with it, any of this. Simply because, I mean, we could go around and around on
Sure.
this forever.
I
we're not
appreciate that,
designing that
thank you.
house.
What about the window, folks?
yeah, we're just gonna, Brian, can you go to the images of the neighbors east? We're gonna bring up that window and then gonna do it like an arched window on that white house there. So we're gonna do little arch on the top and
Okay.
match the height of the adjacent sites, if that's okay with
I
you.
like that idea much better,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, I think we have enough then so that center window in the atrium, location remains unchanged, but we're gonna make the top
Yeah, round.
arched so as
Yeah,
to
arch.
clear that eave a little bit more.
Right.
Got it.
We're gonna arch it a little bit.
All
to
right,
Make it look more interesting, and the porch, that was the other issue. We're gonna just do a 3-foot and engineer in such a way that it's just a cantilever canopy with no columns.
Okay.
So it's gonna come out 3 feet from that left-hand side projection to satisfy zone.
Okay.
Just keep in mind, since you're doing an arched window on the top, whatever you do on the bottom, just try to keep that in mind so that it all ties together.
Okay.
Because it's a different design from what you got here, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all gonna have to tie together. It doesn't have to, but
Okay, yeah.
it's important that it does.
Yeah, okay. And also, we discussed with my clients here, with the Brian, you said that they have to remove the parking,
Well, any of the driveway or
Path.
apron in the right of way will need to get removed.
so which part of that, so everything has to be taken out?
You could keep a sidewalk here, you cannot have a parking space here.
Well,
Well, you could have a sidewalk, if you want a sidewalk there, you could, yeah,
you can
this
have
is a
sidewalk,
this
but
is a
not park
non-conforming
there.
parking space. So the apron will have to be removed,
Well, there
and then
is-
you could, whether a sidewalk
Landscaping.
stays here, that's up to you guys, but you can't have a parking space and an apron leading to nothing.
Okay, even, we can even, it's grandfather, we cannot keep it?
No. Square footage.
Well, I'm just asking because we just had a discussion and maybe Arwa can explain what's the reason of the.
No, so we have an alley,
Camping.
right? And then, in the winter, they push all the snow on both ends, and it's hard to get in through the alley to park the car in the
Whether you're
garage.
coming in from Trip or from Keeler, it's almost impossible to get
Blocks
in.
for that.
So we have that little pad in front where we can park, and obviously we would make it aesthetically pleasing to like complement the house, brick pavers and everything like that.
The-
We have one spot where we can kind of park our car rather than parking it on
The,
Church.
the other option is to make it legal, would be to extend it so some of it comes back here on the side of the house. That would make it 100% completely legal.
Okay, just bring it.
Whether you,
Past the house.
whether you thin it a little bit and have it come back past the house, so there's a parking space behind this front wall here, 18 feet deep, that makes it, wherever you park on it, that makes it, no question, 100% a legal parking space, can be replaced, no problem. Without doing research and history, if you were to clean this up a little bit, bring this down, it's 100% legal. You keep the space, you could still park in the front, because it leads to a space on the side. And then whether this becomes a 1 or 2 car garage, you'd have one legal space here and at least one space, if not 2 there.
Car garage, but yeah, their point was that they dump all that snow on the sides and it's kinda
That's
hard to maneuver in and out of the garage
one
of
of
the
the
alley.
problems that our neighbor has right now. I mean, we have a two-car garage from the alley, but they are either parking on our pad or the next neighbor's.
Yeah, just
So it just doesn't make sense,
to be clear, just to make it legal, you have to have a provision so you can pull the car beyond the front
Beyond
space
the-
of the
Yeah,
house.
so there's a space on the side yard,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, so say if you meet all the requirements, if it sounds like,
We'll do
but
that.
I'll defer to the experts.
Okay, all right, thanks, Brian, yeah, we'll do that. Come
Yeah,
through
and
with
I think you could do a nice, like you're saying, a nice paver,
Nice pavers, yeah,
where
yeah.
it almost looks like it could almost be used as a, patio also.
it. Okay,
All right, well, thank you.
okay, thank you so
Um,
much for your time, yes.
Jay, can you do it?
Yeah.
Please do.
I make a motion that certificate of approval to be granted on case number 2021-0868 as presented with the complying the comments that 50% building machinery to be made as per the ordinance and driveway must be removed.
Or made
Or
legal.
Made compliant
Or
with.
make
Correct.
compliant, yes.
Or maybe compliant.
Anyone second?
Do you want to put a condition on the 50% that the front facade has to be the masonry, the whole thing 50, but the front facade at least has to be, was brought up by another commissioner, that's up to you, but
That's what's
I
been
think staff's
presented.
preference was that at least minimum
Agreed.
the front facade
Agreed.
for sure, and how they want to incorporate it through the rest.
Jay, you got that?
Yeah, so it should be more than 50% masonry as we discussed.
With the provision that the front elevation be all masonry.
I couldn't get you. Okay, so you had this one.
With the provision that the front elevation be all masonry, and that the awning posts also be removed as well. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposed, so passed. Good luck.
Okay,
Thank you
thank you
for
so
your
much.
patience and whoops.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Okay,
The back phone.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to commercial cases. Case number 2021-084A at 4999 Old Orchard Center, G8, a commercial facade. Are they here?
Staff has no concerns with the design. Staff will need to confirm the size of the name on the awnings to meet all requirements.
Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you? And is this McCormick and Schmidt?
Yeah.
This is the
Which
former
is-
McCormick and Schmick, it is.
And not Fogo de Chao?
No, it's not gonna be.
Okay.
Funny thing
Just-
is, I actually worked for the firm that designed this McCormick and Schmick about 20-something years ago.
Okay.
All the
So,
capital
take us through it, Julie.
So, you're probably familiar with the facade. What we're planning on doing is keeping some of the elements we feel fit in well with the mall and work and are built quality and have held up over the years. And then some of the elements we'd like to brand, update, improve. So what we're doing here overall is we're recladding, if you go out there, you'll see that the white brick, it's kind of a heritage brick. It fits in well with the mall. We like it, and it really ties in pretty well with the Capitol Grill brand. And it's in good shape, too. The slate tile was done as part of the McCormick and Schmick build-out. Aesthetically, it's a little bit dated. It's kind of something you saw a lot in the 90s. It's not holding up that well. So what we'd like to do is strip that and replace it with a new black through-body porcelain tile that looks a lot like granite. It's a little bit more durable, though, in the freezing and thawing climate. To clad that along the bottom band that you see there. The storefront, it's a dark bronze aluminum system. It's a good system. It looks good. It's in good shape. We'd like to keep it, replacing only the sections that we need to reconfigure for our entries, for our doors. They do have some stylized wood doors that was part of the McCormick and Schmick branding at their entrances to the former patio and main entry. We'd like to replace those with storefront and glass doors that fit in with the rest of the storefront design that's
I
there.
didn't get what you said about the patio.
There was a former patio there.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and the doors to the patio and the main entry door were sort of a wood stylized, residential looking door that was part of McCormick and Schmick's branding. We'd like to remove those wood doors and replace them with dark browns and glass storefront doors to match the rest of the system, the storefront system. The only part of the existing building that really doesn't fit with Capitol Grill brand's aesthetics is the left-hand portion there, all the way on the left side, top elevation. What that is right now, it's kind of a light brown taupe, sand-colored brick. It doesn't really tie in with anything that's heritage to the mall. It doesn't tie in with anything adjacent, and it doesn't really tie in with our brand. So what we're proposing is to clad it with a large format Carrara marble looking tile that is actually our brand standard. And it complements that existing white brick really well. So what we're doing is we're making this whole portion of the mall more, that's it right there, yeah. So the intent being to make this whole portion of the mall more cohesive, and at the same time, it works well because it's our brand identifying element that we use on our other locations.
Looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
With regard to the main entry, above the, right up on the center upper elevation, what's there right now, or I don't know, still there, it's probably been removed, but they had some kind of three-dimensional fish metal sculptures that stood off the bricks. We'd like to fur out that section. The narrow columns you see there, we are cladding against the existing facade with that same Carrara marble-looking tile. And then those three square sections at the top, that's actually a thick glass jalousie system that's halo lit around the perimeter. It's part of our brand standard, and we feel like it'd be a real nice enhancement to that corner of the mall. if we were to do that there. And as far as the awnings, it's a nice system they've got in place. As far as the structure, it works well. We just like to clean them up, do any repairs that are necessary, put on new fabric and freshen them up.
Looks great. Comments?
What about the sign?
Looks good.
The staff will need to confirm the size of the name on the awnings, meet all requirements.
It's
So,
a 20, I think it's a 24-inch maximum.
I believe so. And we weren't sure 100% what was being proposed.
Okay.
Yeah, we researched it and our sign company is on board. They've done their research and we are compliant.
okay. Motion, Mary Jane?
Okay. I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted to case 2021-084A at 4999 Old Orchard Center, G8, as presented.
Anyone's,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All, any opposed? No opposed, so passed. Thank you, good luck.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
I'm not sure if you're next. Did you want to do
next
Chick-fil-A?
case is.
Do you want to do Chick-fil-A next?
Yeah, let's do Chick-fil-A.
We're gonna do
We're
Chick-fil-A
gonna-
3722, then we'll do Carvanha last.
That's fine, have no problem with that. The next case is 2021-088A at 3722 Avenue. A commercial new drive-through restaurant.
Staff has no issues with the design. Relief was granted through the initial site plan review to allow wall signs on each elevation. Staff noted the location of the menu board along the Tui frontage.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Just some context of the location, this is south of the Lurie's Children's Hospital, outpatient care center that was in the, near Walmart on Tui. I think there's a BP gas station just to the west, Bona Beef, just kind of on the north, a little bit northwesterly of this.
Okay. So all your basic Chick-fil-A branding,
Yep.
materials.
Yep, you got it.
Designs.
It's be our second location, as you know.
Please note that And what are the materials, just to?
All brick. So on the top will be a lighter tan, and then the bottom will be a darker tan.
Okay.
Full brick.
All brick. Okay.
Nice.
Comments,
Is
anyone?
there Site plan included, I didn't see it.
Tui south,
Yep.
Chick-fil-A north, this is Lurie's here. I believe the BP here, Bona Beef over
Yeah,
here.
Okay. Planning strip between the existing parking and proposed.
I believe Wendy's to the east with a similar kind of drive-through pulling around the front.
Thanks.
Looks fine. Anyone? Jay? Wanna make a motion, please?
I moved that a certificate of,
Oh.
oh, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. I was looking this way. I'm just, it's getting late and I'm tired.
Yep, that's okay. Who wants it? Jay?
Okay, I make a motion that certificate of appropriateness be granted for case number 2021-0888, 372021 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed? So passed.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay. Last but not least, case number 2021-071A, 9801 Woods Drive. A new commercial building for Carvanha. Okay.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My
Good
name's-
evening, welcome.
Thank you. My name's Mike Noonan. I'm a land use and zoning attorney with Foley and Lardner. I'm here with Donna Pugh, who's head of our land use group at Foley, and together we represent Carvanha, who is purchasing their site from Mitch Goltz of GW Properties, as the agenda indicated. We've both worked here in Skokie before, and we've both presented to this commission in the past, so it's great to be back here. And we're excited to be back here with Carvanha, who's here to present the signage and architectural design portion of their proposed car vending machine tower. Our team today consists of Brett Sassenberg, VP of Retail Design and Development for Carvanha, Brett Hanlon, AICP Entitlements, Project Manager and Retail Development with Carvanha, Emily Klingensmith with Schuler Shook, Cameron Deppen with Kimley Horn, and George Kissel with Okrent Kissel Associates. And I will now hand it off to Brett Sassenberg, who will kick off our presentation.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thanks for staying late. I'll fly through this. I know it is getting late. Which is the top button? Okay. So we are the site just adjacent to the Optima Tower. I think as the crow flies west of here. I don't know my orientation. The 5 acres that you see there in the center is the site that we are looking to purchase. To the east is, on the page, is Optima. To the west is what I believe is a future development for a hotel coming, but currently office. Let me back up a bit. Carvanha, if you don't know who we are, it's an online auto retailer. So we sell cars online. We are national. We are home-based out of Phoenix, but sell cars across the country. We sell primarily late model used cars. And the vending machine, or our retail facility, our brick and mortar, is where customers come to pick their cars up. It is not, however, where they come to purchase their car. It's all purchased online. So you'll run through our inventory online. You can get financed online. You can have it delivered to your home if you choose. And if you choose to come to one of our stores, you come to the vending machine. That's nomenclature that was picked up out of our Atlanta store by a reporter. Thought it was an interesting concept. Essentially, it's automated parking system. So we're able to efficiently stack the vehicles that are prepped and cleaned so that a customer can come and pick it up with a pretty cool experience. Oh. And that's it. Oh, this one. Again, we've introduced ourselves here. Let me move through. The building itself is quite slight. It's under 6,000 feet. Generally, there's the vending machine tower itself, which is about 40 by 40 to the center, which is the rising tower above. There are 2 delivery bays, so a vehicle not only goes horizontally but vertically into a delivery bay where the car will move to a position to be driven out. The green, the dark green on the bottom of the page is basically the office. That's where the advocates work. The purple area is the lobby. That's the only place the customers generally go into. The green is restrooms and sort of back of house. On either side, flanking that building that you see in the center, are essentially is a wall with some canopies, and that's where customers can come to get out of the weather if they're going to sell us their car or trade in, so we can take a look at it. These are some interior shots. The original concept was to be futuristic, since we're changing how cars are being purchased, although that's no longer a futuristic concept. But we wanted a very clean and crisp aesthetic to the interior, which is matching the exterior, which is because it's primary glass as a display system. On the right-hand side that you see to the left, that actually is a cubby that you step into where you drop a coin. That's because we carried that vending machine concept all the way through, where the customer will get a coin and they will literally vend their car down from whatever level it is. But you'll step into that, and that first step into that cubby there is actually a step into the tower. You're still within the glazed conditioned system, but you're actually able to look up into the tower, and it's pretty exciting. That's looking into the tower where the car is moved up, down, and around. Right there, that little glowing centerpiece, that's the coin drop, so the customer actually vends from right in the first bay position. Here's just some other shots of the lobby itself. These are some other towers that we have around the country. I believe that might be even Oak Brook on the bottom there, which is a tower that we have here in the market. The signage for our tower is obviously very important to us because the architecture is a vending machine and it's a display tower on all four sides. It balanced to have the signage go all the way around. So most of the towers you'll see around the country, when you see our towers there, the signage flanks the entire top so that whatever side you're looking at, you see sort of that branding component as well as the crown of the vending machine. So it's more than, I recognize it is signage as it relates to zoning and code and ordinance, but for us aesthetically it's a very important element. There are logo brands in the corner or the crotch of the building, which is a plus shape, and then the letter branding on the face of each facade. Yeah, I think, George, you gonna take this part? Yeah. The site plan proposal? Thank you.
So, good evening, my name is George Kissel. I'm an architect and an urban planner, president of Oak Rent Kissel Associates in Chicago with offices at 141 West Jackson in Chicago. I'm the applicant's planning consultant, and I'm here basically to touch on a few elements of the site plan, the building elevations, and the signage, and some of the requested relief with respect to the signage that we're proposing. Start with the site plan. I'll try to be as brief as possible. You guys have seen all of this in your package, but again, I just want to touch on a few things. The nuts and bolts of this, we have a little less than 8,000 square foot total at the ground floor with a 40 by 40 chamfered vending machine tower, a little over 250 parking spaces, 2 curb cuts on Wood Drive. We have staging bays with tandem spaces to the east for loading and unloading, and 2 drop-off bays for the Sell to Carvanha program. The building is pushed as far east as possible in the site plan to have the least amount of impact on the adjacent Optima Tower residential development, as well as to capitalize on the vistas from the nearby expressway frontage. With respect to the landscape plan, we're going to be adding 32 additional trees with 5 of the healthy trees on site preserved. Additional landscaped area includes a 5,400 square foot bioswale for enhanced storm management and a pedestrian bicycle connection to the Skokie Valley Trail to the east. So this is a 14-tier design. As Brett mentioned, the vending machine component has a 51 car capacity. The height of the building is 133 feet, 3 inches. We'll walk through the elevations quickly here. Again, 133-foot tower height. This is the west elevation facing Woods Drive. The vending machine tower is clad in steel and transparent glass with metal panel detailing at the parapet that acts as a backdrop for the signage program. Lower on the ground level, it's a similar steel and glass treatment facing the public with a split block garden wall separating the drop-off bays from the staging bays. And as Brett mentioned, a metal canopy to provide protection over those drop-off bays. Going around the other side to the east elevation, again, the tower treatment is same as it is on all sides, with the ground floor here clad in EFIS with metal panel accents for sort of the back of the house functions. The back of the house functions are relegated as far east as possible and again buffered from the Optima Tower. South and north elevations, here you see the familiar vending machine tower treatment with the articulation between the building materials delineating the change from front of house to back of house at the ground floor. All in all, the building's massing is slender, it's well proportioned. It's elegantly rendered in a modern vocabulary with steel and glass, embodying the transparency and the functional expressionism that's characteristic of the modern style. It conveys the image of the forward-looking, innovative technology company that Carvanha is. Signage is understated, tastefully executed and consistent with the style of the architecture. And as we've heard earlier, all of these components are very important and essential to the company's image, branding, marketing, and in fact, their business model. So we'll take a look quickly at the signage components. Basically, we note that all the signage is relegated to the top of the building, and there's really 3 components: the Carvanha channel letters, the logo signs, and the LED border accenting. Here's kind of a look of how they work together in concert with the logos at the corners and the recesses of the chamfers. A view of the detail of the logo sign. Now take a quick tour around the building of the vistas to the signage. Again, it's important to note that the vending machine tower is visible on all three sides as traffic passes on the Eden Expressway. And again, these vistas are very important for Carvanha as a business, and it's of course why they choose to locate adjacent to expressway corridors. Here we see the view from the south approach. This helps illustrate the degree to which the vending machine tower is separated from the Optima tower and how it's visible from the southern approach. Of course, we have the east-facing sort of marquee vista to the tower from the east. The north signage just comes into view as you clear 5215 out Old Orchard Road, southbound on Edens, and finally, again, the view from Woods Drive that we've seen in the elevation. So finally, we come to the issue of signage relief that's requested. It's clear that this is an expressway-oriented development with high visibility on all sides. We know visibility, this visibility is highly important to Carvanha for its image branding, marketing, and its business model. Unfortunately, by ordinance definition, the site only has a single frontage on Woods Drive due to an intervening utility right-of-way between it and the expressway. So, as such, the ordinance limits the building to a single wall sign oriented towards Wood Drive only. Needless to say, that kind of ignores the visibility from the expressway frontage, so Carvanha will be seeking relief to install building signs on all sides of the structure. The site configuration and the edge conditions, notably the intervening right-of-way, causes a practical difficulty or hardship in complying with the letter of the signage regulations. So as we've illustrated, I think the signage program is tasteful, understated, and it's less than the total area of signage that would be allowed on the building by ordinance, even by the most conservative reading of the Skokie sign ordinance. That basically brings us to the end of the presentation, and we hope the proposal meets the standards for the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness. With that, I'll turn it back over to Mike.
Thank you, and with that, we're happy to take any questions that the commission may have.
How far are you from the Optima Tower?
George, I'm going to delegate to Mike.
Sure. So the tower is set about 60 feet east of the edge of the Optima Tower. As the crow flies, it's about 190 feet to the closest point on the Optima Tower.
All right, 190?
190, yeah.
Well, what did you say about 60?
So the 60, if you were to just take a perpendicular distance from the east edge of the Optima building and extend it, the tower element of the building is 60 feet to the east of that.
Okay.
There we go. There you go.
In the evening, is the Carvanha sign backlit?
It's internal illumination, so they're cans, so they are illuminated at night.
Yeah, so you could just barely make, I believe, this is the tennis court. The building is set back right about at this area right here. So if we were to continue to here.
I think the
that
rendering
distance-
probably gives a better perspective in the.
Yeah, if we go back
earlier.
to that sort of the aerial perspective, I'm going the wrong way.
No, the other way. One of the first slides you showed.
Yeah, the one that shows the context slide.
Yep. I'm still going the wrong way, aren't I?
Wrong way.
Yeah. Well, this one kind of illustrates that view, the distance east it is from the tower.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go scrolling all the way back through.
Just real quick, I want to be sure that, so, you know, the review here tonight is
There we go.
There you
for
go.
the sign relief and then the architectural elements of the building itself.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of discussion about lighting, the building lighting, the sign lighting, and then bird strikes and that sort of thing. And these are all issues that are kind of currently being negotiated and are kind of under Plan Commission's review. So that discussion is going to continue there.
And were the residences in Optima given notice of this meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone here? Okay.
We actually spoke to some today, they mentioned they weren't.
Warren coming. All right. Works for me.
As long as it's landscaped.
Yeah. Actually, that's the one point that, if you bring up the landscape plan again, the site plan, I like it, and I like the fact that you're adding a trail, connection. That's added, right? Because I get kind of
Yep.
turned around, because, I want everything to be north and south.
Yeah, so the north is actually up on this.
Yeah, because there's another trail on the far
Right.
side, so I was
Yeah,
trying to
this
figure
is
out.
the connecting Skokie Valley Trail right
Right.
here.
Well, I really
to the east,
appreciate that, and just, that's gonna work well with everything that's proposed to the north. The one comment I have is if you could add a couple of tree islands to that south band of spaces there.
Talking
It
about
just
this
seems like,
Single loaded
yeah, I know that Optima has a row of maples along there, but they're all one kind of tree. It's, who knows what's gonna happen with those.
it's pretty robust.
And it would break up that a little bit. It just seems like it would be appropriate to have a couple of more tree islands.
Would you prefer it aligned with the center and the secondary? I think the first is probably too close to the Woods Drive, but.
I would say just two, and it doesn't really matter if your world is geometry, yes. If it's not,
OCD
yeah.
and geometry, yes. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that. We can do that.
and that was really the only thing. The concern I had, and I don't know, I'll just throw it out to the group, but I kind of resolved it in my head, is the back of what you call them back of house. Those elevations are just a little kind of bare bones, but it's really hard to see when you're driving, when you're on the Edens. But when you're on the path, you see it, but I mean, you're riding by as fast as you can through this kind of stuff. So I don't really have a problem with it. It's just.
There is a grade change also. Of course, the Edens is elevated at that
Yeah.
point relative to the ground floor.
Yeah, because I liked what you did to the front as you approach. It's really a nice elevation at the street level. It's easy to get lost when you've got this big dynamic graphic building. But from a pedestrian and driving in, it's really a nice approach. But as you get around back, it's a little,
Yeah.
but.
Thank you. The arrival experience matters to us. For
I
sure.
talked myself through it, and that you don't really see it.
Thank you. Okay.
But I'm just throwing that out in case somebody wants to grab a hold of it. Sorry. But just the trees were the only comments on the south side.
Anyone else? Jay? Okay. Mary Jane? Okay.
I'm not sure.
Good answer. Julie? All right.
Is the Optima sign lit? So, yeah, and that's.
All right, so appearance and signage, I think the sign issue is signage on all four elevations. Again, something that tall doesn't bother me.
And it's not like bright fluorescent green or
Right.
something, It's fine
and
with me.
it's like Matt's gonna-
Those discussions with Plan Commission and the conditions that are being offered would be to dim or turn off, kind of the Optima facing lights overnight. And so, but that hasn't been completely nailed down, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but, so essentially that's where this is headed. If that's your concern with this proposal, then, yeah.
Well, in light of time, I will suggest a motion from someone.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
If everyone's okay with the tree comment.
Sure.
Definitely.
Okay, I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted for case number, here we go again, damn it. 2021-071A, located at 9801 Woods Drive as presented, with the addition of 2 tree islands on the south side of the property, or the south side of the parking lot. Yeah, I think everything else was
Okay.
as presented.
plus. Thank you. Any second? You did second. Any, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposed, so passed. Good luck.
Good evening, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And where's my hammer? And I think we're adjourned.
We'll see you.
I am sorry about, that. Sorry it took so long.
Not at all.
Like, the longest Bears Commission.